evening. This meeting of the Pender County Board of Education is now called to order. A quorum has been established, and at this time, we welcome our Topsail, Annandale fourth graders to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, sing the national anthem, and one other special song for us. So, if everyone would please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone can take your seat, please.
So this is my all-county choir, my members of the elementary all-county choir. Our all-county choir has all 9 elementary schools, and our big concert is actually on April the 25th. This is our group from Topsail, Annandale, so it's just our 4th graders. And due to weather situations and other things, we've only had 3 rehearsals together. So the song we're going to sing for you today is Fanga Alafia, and it is a welcome song from Western Africa. And we want to welcome you to the meeting and thank you all for having us today.
Welcome.
Miss Payne and fourth graders, thank you so much for gracing us with that tonight. Thank you so much.
I think he'll pull it from that.
Okay. For our invocation tonight, we welcome Mr. Gardner Akins to give us our invocation.
I guess they were worried I was going to start singing. Gracious board members, it is great to be here. Thank you for this opportunity. If you would, let's bow as we open up in prayer. Most kind, gracious, and Heavenly Father, we just come before you and we just thank you so much for this day that you have blessed us with. Lord, we know the weather outside may not be the way that we would like it, but we're thankful for the rain that you provide for us each and every day. We thank you for your sovereignty that's over us right now as we speak. Heavenly Father, I just pray that you will be over the meeting tonight. We just pray for all of those that prepared the documents and the presentations today. We just pray, dear Lord, that you will be glorified and honored in everything. And Lord, we pray for that peace that passes understanding to dwell upon this place, dear Lord, because there's tough decisions to make. And we know sometimes, Lord, we may not always make the decisions that people like, but Lord, we know they're doing it to the best of their ability and with the best intent. And I just pray over them. Lord, I pray that you'll be with them in this meeting, and I pray that you will grant them safety as they travel home to be with their loved ones. We thank you and we love you, and we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Akins. Okay. On to number 4, adoption of agenda. Board members, at this time, do we have a motion to accept the agenda or to change it?
I want to add under information, 7.10 is what it would be, and have someone tell us what's going on with the food since we had the increase.
Aramark update?
Yes. Yeah, that'll work.
Yes, sir.
Somebody will be here for that by then, probably.
Okay, is that a motion, Mr. Hall?
Yes.
That is a motion. Mr. Hall has a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
Mr. Spivey with the second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And motion is approved. Okay, at this time, number 5, recognitions. First recognition will be Ms. Nowlin. Will recognize individuals for their completion of the NCASBO Treasurer Academy.
Good afternoon, everybody. So upon hiring into our treasurer positions, we're required to go to what is the North Carolina School Business Officials Treasurer Academy. And we want to recognize our 3 tonight. Jan Richardson. You guys want to come up? Susan Hunter. And Eileen Trejo. say that we have the best finance group and the best school treasurers that I've ever worked with. And our newest additions, they just continue just amazing us. So thank you for all you do. We appreciate you.
Whoever's the shortest person I need to be. Okay, come on back here.
I think we got it ready. 1, 2, 3. All right, good to go.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next recognitions will be for Dr. Sawyer. You will present those?
Yes, ma'am. So, this past month, we had the opportunity of displaying some artwork in the Cameron Art Museum. They have an event called the Rising Stars Museum for art students in Pender County and the surrounding counties, Brunswick County, New Hanover County. And we have 8 students that we took art that is currently displayed and will be displayed until March 1st at the Cameron Art Museum. And we want to recognize all of these students tonight. So I'm going to invite up Mr. Tony Hudson. And we've got 4 from Heidi Trust. I'm going to let him talk about those first.
Good evening, everyone. What I will do is I will let my art teacher, Ms. McKay, I'll let her be talking about the kids. But first, let me introduce you to probably the best art teacher in the district. As you can see, if you've seen the artwork, the stuff that our kids have been able to do this year has been amazing. Not just the Cameron Arts Rising Stars thing, but we have 2 art expos that we do every year. They're just amazing. Come out and see all the kids' artwork during Christmas time, and we'll do one in the spring. So, without any further ado, I'll let Ms. McKay talk about her students.
So we have 4 students from Heidi Trask have their artwork at the Cameron Art Museum. We want to recognize those tonight, even those that are not present with us. So one of the first pieces was Lorena Valletta Acuna's piece. It was Reflections of the Faceless. It was a self-portrait painting that she did. You go out and see it at the Cameron Art Museum. It's beautifully well done. So she's not here tonight, but I will happily go ahead and take her certificate to her. Next student was Javion Valney. He did a self-portrait as well. He did it in a vintage kind of style. He labeled the piece Vintage Connection. Really well done with acrylic paints, beautiful piece of artwork. So please check that out as well at the Cameron Art Museum. Here tonight we have Jasmine Morales, so she can come on up. Her piece was Petals to Pixels, so she actually shibori fabric dyed the piece of fabric, stiffened the cloth, and did a painting on top of it using a pixelated art style on the flowers and a realistic hand. And it was to represent her family. The flowers were all the birth months of her family members, and the hand was her own hand. Great job. Next up, we have Marlene Reyes. She did a beautiful 4 different medium exploration of a bowl of ramen, and that piece was called 4 Bowls, 1 Comfort. It had to do with her relationship to always having that ramen at home as her comfort food to go back to, and it reminded her of home. And she got to explore 4 different mediums, so she made the same image 4 times, 1 in oil pastel, 1 in acrylic paint, 1 in color pencil, and 1 in watercolor, and she did a fabulous job on it.
I need to be down here.
Ready, 1, 2, 3. All right, great. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
from Pender High, and we have 4 students in addition from Pender High that need to be recognized for their artwork.
Yep, first, good evening, board. I get a chance to say hello to everybody, to those watching at home, especially these students. I am Nick Paquette, principal at Pender High, and the least artistic person I may have ever met, and I mean that with sincerity, and it gives me a deep appreciation for those who not only have a talent, but develop talent into skill with passion, and I get the chance to see these students do this thing. At Pender High School, we've had the chance to kind of build back, I guess, in many ways, a thriving now theater program, a standing band, a dancing program as well, but the backbone of stability for us has been the visual arts under the care of Miss Caperton, so I acknowledge her in this work because I have little to do with what came out of this, get the opportunity awkwardly to celebrate it, but I see you there and I'm so happy you're here. And so I can't do what Miss McKay did. I have no clue what the technique was called, and that I can't do, but I can celebrate students and the future they have, whether it be hobbyists and or taking it into the workplace in different forms. And so I see one of the most talented artists that I've had the privilege to know for a good while since arriving, Miss Ava Hubble, if you want to come on up. And I don't know that she'd be willing, so I'm going to ask her privately first. Can you tell them about your piece? Because you know I can't do it. I don't know how Miss McKay did that, so.
Yeah.
You want to tell them about
We
it?
did the bird.
All right, we did a bird
The bird.
in charcoal-ish.
Yes, charcoal.
In charcoal. And it's fascinating, and it, the Pender High, different than the Heidi Trask, is they put ours in the VIP collection at the camera. And so congratulations to you for all that you do, amazing students. Miss Alicia Dixon, who's not here. Some of our folks have gotten this bug or whatever's going around. We wish them well and peace and health, and wash your hands as a reminder. But she had a fascinating piece looking into a keyhole of kind of an old door with various expressions of kind of futuristic eye type of things, and looking into, and it was just fascinating and beautiful and very colorful. I also have the chance to recognize Elise Velasco, who is not here tonight, but had a very powerful shading piece that had spiders involved. And I know I'm not doing them justice, that's the best I can do. And then also tonight, Yadira Ramirez Lopez, who had a fascinating piece of a floral bouquet of sunflowers and the shading and the whole deal. So I know I didn't do it justice. If you're wondering how a man can mess it up so much, go see it for yourself. It's there all month.
All the way till March 1st.
And we're celebrating our students throughout this district, and I love that. So congratulations to those being honored, and thank you for the opportunity.
1, 2, 3. All right, it's great. We'll leave the board.
All right.
Ready, 1, 2, 3. All right, great. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Good job.
I will add for everyone to know that the Cameron Art Museum does have the art until March 1st, and the Cam Rising event is free to the public for everyone to see.
Thank you, everyone. Now we are at agenda item number 6, public comments. Mr. McPherson.
Good evening. The Pender County Board of Education welcomes the opportunity to hear from the public during its regularly scheduled meetings. The public comment period is open to all members of the community, including parents and students, to express compliments, concerns, or complaints regarding the performance of school personnel, the implementation of board policy, the quality of the education program, or school facilities. In accordance with Policy 2310, presentations are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. obscene, vulgar, or profane statements, and statements reasonably perceived to be disruptive or immediately threatening to the orderly operation of the meeting will not be permitted. At this time, we have one commenter signed up, Madam Chair, and I'd like to recognize Michael Beck.
Good evening, board members. Congratulations, Ms. Burns. I am here tonight to speak about the EC program. I would like to thank the board for the positive changes it gives some recognition. Surf City's new principal has been very approachable and makes time to listen and help. With the current events in the EC class, Mr. Bailey assured us steps would be taken to minimize the disruption to the class. I am confident this will be the case. The new EC director, Ms. Walker, and her team have taken on the daunting task of making the EC program a success and have brought a sense of direction to the program, which I am grateful for. All of these positions are very important, and all seem to realize open communication between parents and staff are paramount to the success of our children, as well as communication between departments from the superintendent down. Superintendent Breedlove, keep up the good work supporting these extraordinary educators. Since the start of the school year, our son, who is nonverbal, has begun using a picture chart to point to things he wants. He was even sitting, which he rarely does, with his IA, Miss Stephanie, and pointing at numbers. Big thanks to Miss G, speech, and Miss Pam for their work that they do. Since going into the NC class, our other autistic son has made so many accomplishments. Miss Tammy and Miss Brevin take so much time with the kids and clearly love their students. This proves early education works and needs everyone's continued support. For further proof, I urge you to Google "This Is Not About Me" by Jordan Zimmerman. I come here with my 3 minutes at a time because my wife and I are advocates for our kids. No one knows how much time we have left in this world, but at least at some point, hopefully long from now, our boys will know we didn't sit quiet. Someone once told me, "You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start now and change the ending." Thank you for your time, and know you are appreciated for the job you do and the decisions that you make. I would just like to give these up if I could.
Yes, sir.
This is about Jordan Zimmerman, if you want to take a look. If you would just pass this around. Thank you, board.
Mr. Beck, thank you. Our next agenda item, number 7, information agenda. 7.1, policy 3400, first read. Dr. Simon.
Good evening, board. If it's okay, I'll do the next 5 agenda items in a row and just see if you have questions concerning the changes.
Very good.
Is that okay? Okay.
Board, is that all? Is that satisfactory to everyone?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So policy 3400 is adding the new state requirements for credit recovery in accordance with policy CCRE 001 that was approved by the State Board of Education in December 2024. Do you guys have any questions about that policy?
No, ma'am, I don't believe we do.
Okay. Policy 3400R, similar, it was revised to add the credit recovery in accordance with CCRE 001, but the revisions do add guidelines for credit recovery and evaluation for progress as well. Okay. Policy 3420, as per state policy changes, this was the addition of the career development plan as required for promotion. It was added. The new requirements for credit recovery were also added, explaining the difference between a credit recovery course and a repeating for credit. So if you repeat a course for credit. Any questions on 3420?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Policy 3420R is the procedure for 3420, and it goes into a little bit more detail. Removing English as a specific course, even though it's still required for graduation. It does add the CDP plans, which is required by the state in order to promote from 10th grade to 11th grade, as per those changes. We did do, we put a little bit of detail in there as far as data samples as well for acceleration in middle school. Any questions on 3420R?
So you're saying it's required between 9th and 10th grade, but not required to graduate high school?
For,
Did I hear that right, the English class?
so English is required for graduation. You're required to get English 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
The previous policy had that you couldn't get promoted from 9th to 10th grade if you failed that English class, but you still need the English class for graduation. So we're taking the failing the course out and putting the other requirements that are required by state. English is not required by state, but it is required for graduation. Any other? Okay. Last one is policy 3460. 3460 is dealing specifically with graduation requirements. We added the completion of the career development plan by the end of 10th grade. That is a graduation requirement. We also updated the year for course units. We did a few language changes because there was language from 2015-16 in there. We made a new table. The state has added art as a requirement, so students are required this year that are coming from 8th to 9th grade to have a art course of some sort, whether it's visual arts, dance, theater, or music. Next year, they're required to have a computer science credit, and we added some language around the world language credit. Some schools require it. Some UNC schools require world language, some do not. So we wanted to make sure that that was a little more clear.
Could you repeat that, the last part?
The world language. So some schools require world language as a requirement to get into the school for acceptance, and some don't.
Within this university system?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we always want to make sure we check where they plan on going to make sure that we give them what they need. Yep. Any questions about those policies?
No, I don't believe there are any more. Thank you,
Thank you
Dr.
so much.
Sawyer. Okay, 7.6, policy 3621, first read.
The very same concept that Dr. Sawyer was mentioning. This brings athletic policy back into the same concepts. Credit recovery and things of that nature needed to be updated in this policy, so you have it in front of you. As presented in Cal, no changes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, policy 6125, Mr. Taylor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Again, bringing back from the working session, Committee of the Whole, recommended policy 6125 revisions for first read. I have Ms. Cynthia Avery here this evening as our lead nurse for any specific questions you may have regarding this policy. Working with PCS nursing staff in coordination with Mr. McPherson, our board counsel, we recommended changes to our policy regarding the distribution of medication to our students on campuses. Additionally, these changes will more closely align with the state policy and those of the surrounding district. As I stated previously, the most important aspect of this policy change or request for revision is to allow our nursing staff to provide for our students on campus in a more efficient manner. We previously were not allowed to provide certain medications on campuses, but this allows us to go to the next level. Whatever the doctors have prescribed for our students that need to be administered on campus, they now can comply with the doctor's orders rather than the FDA. Any questions for the first read?
Think so. Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Thanks so much. See you next month for second read.
Yes, sir. Agenda item 7.8, policy 6420, first read.
Good evening, Board. So,
Good evening.
Policy 6420 is contracts with the board. It is a local policy that establishes what is required to bring before you for approval. We are requesting a revision to this policy. That does not take away from following the state or local bidding and procurement methods, the processes that have to be put in place. I would not be coming before you this evening if those processes from a finance level are not already in place. Most of those forms can be found on our website. We have to follow those day in and day out as we execute all of our duties as directors or seeking bids or opportunities to participate in projects with Pender County Schools. This request is dividing it into two separate categories: system contracts and school level contracts. So schools have a different level of approval than what system contracts do. So we are requesting to take the limits to what the state recommends for anything above that has to go to a formal limit. So requesting purchasing increases on materials, equipment, supplies, and services to reach $90,000 before it comes to the board for approval. Again, that does not take away to the checklist that I will go through that the finance department has in submission before a requisition has to be done. There's several checklist boxes that we have to turn over to Jewel and Ms. Nowlin here before it ever becomes a PO or a contract signed. They are, if it's above 90, or if it's in the formal, did you advertise it in the paper? Did you have a pre-bid meeting? Are the bids sealed? Do you have enough to open the bid? There's several different checklists that we will follow depending on what range it is. So those processes are in place with Pender. So this is a request to raise the purchasing to $90,000. And note in this policy, it does not apply to bidding for construction work or change orders. So therefore, if this is modified, we'll visit the next policy directly after that. Do you have any questions?
Okay, there appear to be no questions. 7.9, policy 9120.
Okay. So, reflecting from a change in a first read on 6420, we need to address 9120. That is the bidding for construction work. Right now, the policy states that no board approval is requested or is needed up to the informal or the formal bidding threshold, which is $500,000. So obviously, I don't want to come, I'd rather come before you for approval for a lower limit than that. So instead of having the policy stay as it is at $500,000, we are requesting to align ourselves with surrounding districts that if it's a construction project, that we still are following those same processes that are aligned in the finance department, but anything above $150,000 comes before you. This aligns with all the neighboring counties. This will, as the CIP develops and becomes projects established, we'll know what our budgets are. We anticipate that cost, and then again, anything over 150 will come to you for approval. Questions on the bidding for construction work?
Okay,
Thank you.
no questions. Thank you, Mr. Gervanis. Next up, 7.10, Aramark update, and that's Ms. Nowlin.
Good afternoon, board. So I'm going to ask Amanda Burnett to come up. She has created a presentation and she will share with you an update on where we are. Hopefully you all have been seeing the Facebook pages with all the posts of the meals. I have been really excited. Of course, I read all the comments.
I greatly appreciate the opportunity to continue having support to improve the student nutrition program for our students in the county. I did put together a slide of all of the display plates. So at the beginning of service, we put together display plates for the students to see. It gives them an example of how they can build their meals when they're coming in, and kind of gives them a little bit of a snapshot of what's being offered for that day. Not all of them understand what the options are. So for example, one of the days we had an egg roll in a bowl, which was a very new item. We did have it as an LTO last year, and the high school students really enjoyed it. So we made it a menu item whenever we were able to revamp the menus. So we'll put together display plates. So when they're coming through the line, they're able to see what is being served before they get to the line. So I did compile a slide that shows and showcases some of the display plates that we have had in our buildings across the district. Some of the exciting things that the students have really been enjoying is the red seedless grapes, the diced cantaloupe, and pineapple chunks. We freshly diced all of those, and the students are really enjoying it. we have seen an increase in the amount of fruits being taken in the buildings because we are able to offer these opportunities, which is, you know, what we're looking for and what we're wanting to see. So that's excellent. And then we have also added additional fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. So we have the grape tomatoes, which the students were a little bit resilient to at first, and they've started kind of picking up some participation on that. And then as far as entrees, we rotate beef and chicken tacos. The students love the tacos. And as we mentioned at the last board meeting, the pineapple salsa that we make in-house, we continue to make because that has been a hit in the buildings. We've added the beef tortilla bowls. The middle and high school students particularly love those. They're topped with jalapenos, and they like anything that has a little bit of a spice to it, so they're enjoying that. We do have chicken wings, and we pair that with a house-made mac and cheese. And the high school students are enjoying that opportunity. The mozzarella stuffed cheese sticks were a student favorite for elementary, middle, and high school, and we pair it with a pizza sauce so that they can dip it themselves. And we have seen a lot of participation with that as well. So we've had the opportunity to bring back a lot of things that they had exposure to before or that was on past menus. We were able to bring those things back, and they're enjoying those. As you kind of scan the slide, you'll see that there's a lot of color. It's like eating the rainbow now, so it's a very beautiful sight. We have multiple fruits and vegetables offered daily, so if they don't like one, they still have a couple of options to choose. And the grapes seem to be the biggest, most popular fruit. K-12, they all love the grapes. So we wanted to showcase, you know, all of the options that are still continuously being rolled out. We do a 5-week cycle. So we just finished our first 5 weeks of the new menu implementation. We're starting the second round of it, and we're still kind of tweaking and fine-tuning. So if there were things that they didn't quite necessarily love as much the first time, we are tweaking kind of the second version to make sure that we're encouraging all of the kids to come and eat with us in the cafeteria. These are things that we're looking forward to next month. So our promotions for March, we have a Rice Krispie Day. We have little mini Rice Krispie squares. They're about an inch by an inch. They're very small, but it will highlight the Rice Krispie Day. They are whole grain Rice Krispies, so they're not the same kind you would buy at the grocery store. We will be celebrating Read Across America Day, National Cereal Day, Smoothie Day, and then our LTO for March is a Cajun biscuit and gravy. And that will be offered at the end of March. And that's what we're looking forward to. Any questions?
I have 2 comments, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Please, if you would, when you post pictures, post some of them this side of the county. I've had comments about it. That's over on the other side of the county. What about over on the east,
Yeah,
west
so
side?
we've started,
I was about
I
to say
did
same
share out
thing.
Cape Fear, Burgall Middle. I'm trying to work my way around. So you'll be seeing those this upcoming week.
Perfect. And then my other comment was, Mr. Paquette, when I reached out and asked him, said that the pizza oven is working.
Yes.
And they are eating pizza out of the pizza oven.
Yes, ma'am, they are.
So I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I extend the invite to you all to come enjoy some pizza from the pizza oven.
Yes.
We would be glad to feed you and let you see what the experience is like for the students.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you.
You, has help gotten any, finding people to work, gotten any easier?
Staffing?
Yeah.
So I'm very proud to announce our west side of the county is fully staffed, and we have drastically closed the gap on the east side of the county. So I have 3 true vacancies on the east side of the county, and we do have a few in onboarding, but overall, we are in a much better staffing position. We do still see some minor disruptions to service at the moment just because of the illness that's circulating. So today we did have 11 people out with a combination of some of the illnesses going around. But overall, our actual staffing, once we get past some of the illness phase, we do have a very solid foundation for staffing now. And we are working to get some subs in place so that when we continue to have any of these outages, we have somebody to fill in.
All right. Has the school been able to help any with like putting the word out that you need people, you're hiring, all this stuff?
Yes, we've been doing some of the Facebook blasts. That's helped a lot. When I do my interviews, I typically like to ask where they heard about us or how they got the word, to apply for Airmark. And a lot of it lately has been the Facebook posts that have been shared out.
All right.
Very good.
Thank you all for your support.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Board, you have had an opportunity to look at the consent agenda. Do we need to pull any items out for discussion, or are you satisfied to make a motion to approve it all?
I make a motion that we approve it all.
Mr. Hall with the motion,
I'll second.
Mr. Spivey with the second. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And the motion is approved. The consent agenda is approved. Now on to number 9, our action agenda. 9.1, letter for support for teacher pay raises.
Ms. Burns, I'll turn it over to you if you want me to. Or I can discuss it in a few minutes and we can discuss it as a team.
You can go ahead, but
Very
thank
good.
you. I
Very
appreciate it.
good. Several districts around the state have decided to join in an effort to contact the legislature in regards to increasing teacher pay. And that is on the table for the board to discuss in terms of action tonight.
And Board, I just wanted to say that several of our neighbors, several of our neighboring counties have, members of their boards have sent this to me, and they have approved it. So we have a pretty good base of support for this. Just my personal belief is that if we don't stand up for our teachers, who will? And it's part of our job as elected officials to go up to the next level when we need something. It's part of our job to tell anyone who can help us, we need more. We did this the other day over at the county commissioners. We needed more and we went and asked for it. Now we need our teachers to be paid more, and this letter is the way that we do it. So with that said, is there any commentary or discussion?
So, this letter will be going to Senator Phil Berger and also to the Speaker of the House, Representative Destin Hall. And I'm assuming we're going to send it also to our own people, to Representative Carson Smith and Senator Brent Jackson. So am I correct about that? It's going to go to all 4?
Yes, sir. What we are approving tonight is the body of the letter, but we can modify, we can send this to whoever we need to get the message out that we support this initiative.
Now I make a motion that we approve it to those 4 individuals. And in my opinion, the body of it looks fine, as long as we send it to those 4 individuals.
Thank you, sir. We have a motion, from Mr. Hall,
I'll second.
and a second from Mr. Spivey. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And the motion is approved. Thank you very much. 9.2, approval of on-call architectural services. Mr. Gerganis?
All right, so on-call architectural services, last month on the information, agenda, was very excited about a lot of things coming to our operations department, and this being one of them. So we advertised a RFQ for on-call architectural services to provide these architectural services from, it could be a small project, that could be just a renovation or a help of modernization of classrooms, furniture upgrades, to a renovation of bathrooms at any particular school, to possible additions and renovations that we need coming down the pipeline. In this RFQ, the scope of services that they participated in is help with facility assessments, feasibility studies, design and documentation, long-term planning, which is key, regulatory compliance, and construction administration of these projects if they come to a hard bid stage or another selection for some type of other delivery service from the construction side, like CM and risk. Again, this is just for on-call architectural services. So per the state and, the way we're supposed to go out and participate in the bidding world, this was the RFQ or, requested for these qualifications, and we had 5 firms submit. We had Osterlin out of Raleigh, we had Davis Kane out of Raleigh, we had a Loudermilk out of Wilmington, Becker Morgan out of Wilmington, and LS3P. LS3P has been involved in a lot of the construction of our facilities in the district, and after scoring and reviewing all the proposals and submissions with the committee, we evaluated that on demonstrated experience with similar projects, qualifications and expert of the project team presented in the RFQ, understanding of PCS's needs and project requirements, past performance and references, and capacity and approach to deliver these services efficiently. After careful review and a weighted scoring average, the committee selected LS3P as the most responsive to our needs as a district of what we're trying to do moving forward, from long-range planning to the expanding growth that we're experiencing as a district. So our recommendation is for the Board of Education to approve LS3P to be used for on-call architectural services. Do you have any questions?
Price on this? Like, do we know what this cost or?
No, so basically this RFQ is just like a statement of qualifications, making sure they're qualified to do the job. In capital, in capital, we'll establish those architectural and engineering fees. So until we establish what the project is, making sure they're qualified to do the work. And then once we identify what the projects are, they can put their cost applied to it. Make sure that, this is to get them in.
It's on a bid
here.
by basis.
Yes, correct.
Okay. I'm good with it.
Anybody like to make a motion?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Is there a threshold in which we would go beyond the use of this group?
So after a further review of that, and I leave it to you, Mr. McPherson, but as long as if it's project focused, or you may want to take something a specific project, contractually, legally, do you want to answer that for me?
Yeah, I would love to answer this question. Thank you, Russ. Appreciate it. So if their estimated fee is under 50K, then we could use LS3P. If it's over 50K, you're going to have to go back out.
Got it.
And that's
the threshold.
that's the monetary threshold that's laid out in the law. But to be candid with you, a lot of the stuff that you're going to be dealing with is going to be design fees of under 50K for smaller projects, and just, I need to get a drawing of how to move a wall, for example. And that's just not going to cost you that much money.
Yes, sir.
So.
Thank you.
Is it the group that would like redesign Pender High School bathrooms?
Possibly. Very
So,
possible.
for you, did we do this last time with the schools we built? I can't remember off the
No.
top of my head.
So with last time, what you did is you RFQ'd all the renovations separately, and then you awarded them out to different architecture firms, and they did all of them individually. For example, Little Architect did all of your renovation projects last time as a group, and y'all selected that.
But LS3P has worked for us before.
They have. They built Topsail High School.
No, that was
Did they
before
not?
my time, so they've
Yeah.
done something since I've been here too.
Yeah. And they built other things for you, but LS3Ps, I remember specifically they built
Was it
Topsail.
Pender Lee they had something to do with?
No, it was not. It was not Pender Lee.
That was SFLA.
That was
Oh,
SFLA.
For the, yeah.
I'll also say that this year we will be presenting, after coming to you all first with it, the capital improvement plan, and on that is a lot of deferred maintenance. in a lot of areas, smaller projects, but just a lot of them. And this will help speed up the process for us in order to get those projects completed, especially the smaller ones that we have, by having LS3P basically on speed dial for those projects and any type of architectural design that needs to be done. That's my understanding of the process.
Board, are there any other questions? Okay, would we like to entertain a motion?
Go ahead. Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve LS3P for on-call architectural services for the district.
Thank
I'll
you.
second.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And the motion is passed. Thank you very much. 9.3, commissioning services, new K-8.
Okay, so 2 months ago, we issued a RFQ for the commissioning services for the new K-8. In that new commissioning services, this is gonna be for the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. All right, so RFQ was issued for the commissioning service for the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing scope of the new K-8. This is to ensure that we get a commissioning agent in here early, start reviewing submittals, start overseeing some of the construction that's going on to make sure all these units are put into place per contract documents, and they're gonna function as they're supposed to per contract documents and specs. And then as the project progresses to the end, assist and oversee that the O&M manuals are put together, that the owner training is put together and documented, and all the way assist with the warranty walks, 11-month post-construction. So we had originally 5 firms respond to the RFQ. Last month, we shortlisted those 3 firms, down to 3 firms, and then issued a RFP for them to respond based on certain criteria. In that criteria, it was, let me get to, the proposal requirements included project understanding and approach, team qualifications, relevant experience, proposed work plan and schedule, a fee proposal which had to include an itemized breakdown of costs, including fixed fees, hourly rates, and reimbursables, and additional information. So out of the 3 firms that were shortlisted, they all responded, and they were Facility Dynamics, RMF Engineering, and Hanson. So after careful evaluation and the committee reviewing all of these, Hanson emerged as the top-ranked firm, demonstrating the best alignment with the project needs, having the most relative experience with answering to all the project requirements in the RFP. So as a result, Hanson is selected as the engineering firm for the design build commissioning services, and that amount is $210,366. Now I will say that this cost is already accounted for in the bond money with the county. Bordeaux helped develop a lot of these soft costs. That soft cost that we carried, it was $328,000. So we're well under. Again, this is just mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. The building envelope scope of things, roof and flashing, all that is gonna be carried underneath SM&E, SKR. I may have that backwards off the top of my head, but that's gonna be carried under, by a different engineering firm. So this is just mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Do you have any questions?
Sounds like the schools need to hire an architect.
That's what I've been saying for a while.
I mean, we guaranteed to spend how much on this one, sir? To what?
210,366,069.
We got the on-call, and that's kind of on a bid basis, you know, exceed 50, then we reach out to another firm, we get another bid. just something about in the future that might need to happen. I mean, that's a good salary if we had an architect. We wouldn't have to talk to a lot of people and stuff a lot of stuff out.
But it's, are you talking about specifically just for the commissioning?
No, I'm talking about like
Staff.
like staff wise.
Our planning department.
Okay.
For a lot of, in the district I came from, we did have a planning department, and I know that the larger districts typically do have their own planning department with an engineering aspect, just because they're so large in doing that. And Pender County is not a small school system anymore. There's something going on all the time within, but to your point, this is a lot of piecemealing across.
And this is a normal required thing in construction, and this is specifically just for the new school. So, you know, there was a spec section that aligned with our owner preferred requirements of how this RFP and RFQ came to be in a package. They looked at our plans, understand our specs, know what the commissioning services spec section is, and based it off of that.
Mr. McPherson. Yes, sir. Refresh my memory again. Did we do all this for these other schools we built?
We did. We did. You had a commissioning agent. The interface for your commissioning agent, though, was basically a recommendation from your architect.
Okay. So that's what the difference is. We didn't.
Yeah, you did.
I don't think it was presented like this, so.
It was not. I mean, to be candid, this is the traditional way that it gets handled, is that you hire your own commissioning agent and it doesn't get shortlisted by an architect and get brought to you to approve somebody. So, yeah, this is, you know, they come in and they check the design builder's homework and make sure that they've done the job right, which is the really important part.
I just don't want to get to the end of this thing and run out of money like the last 3 schools that we built have.
Sure.
And then we have to nickel and dime things to death and go and ask people for money and cancel buildings that we promised the people and
Absolutely.
things of that nature. So
Yes, sir.
it's just 200,000 here, 100,000 there, $1 million over here. It adds up over time. So
Yes, sir.
that is why I ask, because the people want to know.
Absolutely.
So, and I didn't ask you because you weren't here. So
But you already said this was already figured into the bond.
Correct.
It's not like that's a surprise.
No.
no, it's not extra, but when you get to your bond limit, as we did with Pender Lee, as we did with both Surf City schools, and as we'll probably do this time for various reasons, then you have to make some real tough decisions. So that'll happen about a year from now. So,
But for today, this specific expense has already been programmed in. It's part of the bond.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, board, are there any other questions or comments? Okay. Do we want to entertain a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Mr. Hall with the motion,
A second.
Mr. Spivey with the second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And 9.3 is approved. 9.4, naming of the new K-8.
All right, I'll put that up for all right, board. So this month, from January 6th to February 2nd, I think everybody's aware of the survey that went out. I want to put up here the results and kind of run you through what we consider this being first phase and what we need to move to in second phase. So by board policy, naming 9,300, we basically create a list of names that align with what the policy requirements are, and we've conducted this survey. So overwhelming response. These were 3 selected pre-filled out options with a write-in option. Hampstead Elementary and Middle obviously carry with 54%. Topsail Elementary and Topsail Middle, number 2, and then East Pender Elementary and East Pender Middle, wrapping up with 86 votes at 13%. The other majorities, none receiving more than 2 votes, were write-in submissions. Here's the pie graph put in this type of format. You can see there some of them. Oceanside Elementary, East Topsail Elementary, and Island Creek Elementary were just a few. So the recommendation here tonight is to have a discussion for approval of names. Any suggested ones by the board here tonight will be added to this. And we would also like to request that through some maybe misunderstanding of the survey or the way that it was put out there, we want to make sure that there is no more write-in submissions for phase 2. And we would probably like to add the options that the elementary school could be named something different than the middle school. I think Topsail Middle School is a name that's a staple in that side of the county. And I think in some of the responses and some of the communication we've received as a district, many thought the Topsail Middle School name may be going away because there was a Topsail Elementary and middle selection for the naming. Kind of put that up there because we have a Surf City Elementary, Surf City Middle. You know, Cape Fear Elementary, Cape Fear Middle. It kind of aligns with the way the district already is. So with a fourth option being maybe a Hampstead Elementary and a Topsail Middle would be a possible number 4. So just coming to you tonight with possibly maybe whatever recommendations that you have, we'll put this into a survey with no more write-ins and send it out and let it run through, when the board agenda items are due next month,
So
and
you
then bring
want-
it to you for approval.
We can only vote on yes or no items, so you want us to vote, can you restate it?
Yes, so vote on the current names or any additional ones to be added so we can get that survey out to the community and bring back the final results for a final approval.
Whatever.
Okay.
How would you like me to proceed?
Sure.
Yeah, just add a fourth one, let them add a fourth one.
Agreed.
Yeah. Make a motion, to add a fourth, write-in line for the the K-8, new school.
Okay.
A motion from Mr. Spivey. Any seconds?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves. Second from Mr. Reeves.
I want to make sure I understand what we're saying.
And-
What's the fourth
You're saying there could be different names?
You can only vote on a yes or no
I
item.
think that's
at
what
a
he's
board meeting.
asking, could they send out a fourth, name for survey to come up with a blend, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
I just wanna make sure
just a
I'm hearing you
fourth
right.
option.
Yep.
Hampstead Elementary, Topsail Middle.
Because it's a multiple choice question.
Correct.
And you want to have 4 options. Got it.
The board establishes the name, and we present the options.
Just giving the option to do either or. Like, you don't have to be.
It's just giving everybody, yeah.
Okay, that answers my question. I'm sorry. You can call.
Restate the motion
Yeah.
in its exact wording.
All right. And I make a motion to give a fourth option of naming the new K-8 school.
Okay.
Okay, and we've had a second.
So I have a question. What was the purpose of putting out a survey that's been answered by parents that we work for, if we're gonna just put it out again? Can anybody answer that?
Maybe he feels that 600, or how many was it, sir? How many votes total we got there?
So we had 637 responses.
Maybe he
Yep.
feels that's not enough
That's good,
responses.
well, that's a good point.
I might be misunderstanding, but I think did I understand you say people made some comments about can they be named differently?
Yeah, correct. So out of the 637 responses, we are just highlighting what the overwhelming response indicated.
So are the people gonna see this on their next survey?
We would suggest that either if you have any recommendations that you would like to bring and add, possibly propose option 4, which would be a Hampstead Elementary and Topsail Middle. And we would just want to inform the community to understand that Topsail Middle doesn't have to go away. And maybe the survey that was conducted was misleading.
So you want to condense the responses into 4 choices?
I'll do whatever you want to do.
Is that, whatever, let's just vote.
I think that what you were trying to do, it was a shotgun blast the first time, and now you're just kind of trying to refine.
Is the motion on the
survey.
floor?
The motion has been on the floor, the
Then let's
motion's
vote.
been second. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed?
Yes, no.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Greganis. Okay, and next is pre-K modular South Topsail Elementary School.
Okay. All right. So I got Dr. Sawyer here to help me with the physical implications, which I decided I was gonna leave blank for some reason, so we'll get to that. So, an RFP was issued for the purchase and installation of a pre-K modular at South Topsail Elementary School to account for building space needed to house the pre-K program. 3 bidders submitted proposals following the formal bidding method, and they were open, and the lowest responsive bidder was Modular Technologies with a bid of $532,680.
I make a motion for approval.
We have a motion for approval. Would anyone like to second?
I second. I've discussed this with Mr. Gerganis because I was a little bit confused about what this was,
Okay.
so I'm good with it.
Well, and I'll tell you what, to satisfy the rest of the board, if there are any questions for this before we move on to a vote, does anyone have any questions?
You can't, the motion's on the floor.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you, motion approves.
1 no.
Thank you. Okay. 9.6, Arate MDF/IDF Cat 6 cabling upgrade.
All right, I'm gonna ask the professional, Mr. Macon, come up here if you wouldn't mind assisting with this one. I love facilities, but when you start talking about E-rate, it gets a little confusing. You wanna take lead?
Sure, yeah, I'll take it. Ultimately, the idea here, guys, is this is the last fiscal year of our existing E-rate budget. The remaining amount in that budget was $142,000, and I wanted to put every dollar of that into existing infrastructure in our schools to make sure, we fully utilize that entire budget for this 5-year span. Building up to that, we identified kind of our worst case areas of improvement regarding some existing cabling projects and narrowed it down to 3 and put basically a request for proposals out. And we did a mandatory walkthrough with this, so every site was very unique. We only had 1 bidder respond and show up to those walkthroughs. That said, this bid is still under state contract, and I've checked with our E-rate coordinators, and that is permissible within the outlines of the what's called 470, or the contract that the state puts out that we utilize for these projects. So that 1 bidder came, gave us a project. It did exceed our budget, which was intended. Again, the goal here was completely disperse the remaining E-rate funds. So that project came back with $159,000, which did exceed our E-rate budget. The plan is to pick up the rest of that. Worst case scenario, using local funds, but we should have enough state funding to pick that up, to disperse that. So that's why this is written with local funding there, to seek your approval, should that state funding be encumbered with other projects. I still have a large infrastructure project I'm bidding right now. That is the primary source of that funding, and I have not finalized the numbers on that. So that's why I'm seeking your worst case approval here by stating local there. Any questions on that?
Or do we have any questions? Would anyone like to entertain a motion?
This is just a quote, right?
Yeah, it's a narrative in a single quote. At the bottom, under recommendation, you do kind of see the breakdown of where it says E-rate for $113,000. That's the money that essentially the feds will be paying as part of this program. That will not be a cost to the district. The local funds at $65,000, that is our initial expenditure, and then the state is going to come back and refund us the $28,000. We are what's called an 80% district, so the feds will pay for 80, we pay for 20. By utilizing this state contract, the state's going to come in and reimburse us that 20%. When I bring y'all E-rate items, they're generally completely free.
Except for those 3 schools, they're gonna get upgrades.
Absolutely, yeah. They're network closets in a rough condition, and really we identified about 5 worst case scenarios.
And we narrowed it down to 3 within, trying to fit within this budget scope, and that's what we're bringing towards you.
Wonder why nobody else wanted to bid on this.
The project scope, the size. This is small fish. I mean, our peers are bidding $2 million projects right now because this is the last year of E-rate funding. Thankfully, the vendor, ANC is the actual vendor. They're subbing a local vendor, NC Sound, which we do a lot of work with. And you know, that vendor, because they're local, they're able to fit in these small projects. And so they're going to be able to execute on this at a time that, you know, works for both of us. And think of this as just kind of a small piece of mortar for them in their yearly project scope. But we were not a big fish this year for our E-rate spending. Thankfully knocked that out last year.
All right, board, any more comments? Questions? Okay, would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to award the, is that good enough? Award the bid to ANC to authorize renovation for the Cat 5 cabling at the schools that were mentioned in the proposal.
Okay, Ms. Hanson with the motion.
Second.
Mr. Spivey with the second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries. Thank you
Thank you,
very
board.
much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We are to number 10, comments from board members. I'm going to start tonight with Mr. Reeves.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I like going last.
I was hoping she was going that direction.
I would like to thank our county commissioners for coming through for our Pender County schools, and Dr. Breedlove for a great presentation, not only at the board meeting, but last night. That was a great presentation you made on the state of our schools. Mr. Gerganis, I would just like to twist your arm and try to keep you here. We're gonna miss you. You're a very smart young man, and you've just done a great job in the time that you were here. And I don't know how we're ever gonna replace you.
Well, now that Tommy took everything I was gonna talk about away, yeah, we are gonna miss you. I wish we could keep you. You know, I understand the situation at hand. You know, I think we did cover a lot tonight, as little as it may sound to others. You know, I do want to see a possible idea in the future of a planning board or an architect. I mean, we're going to keep building schools. The families are going to keep coming. So that is something we need to look at as far as a cost perspective. You know, sometimes we got to make those decisions. So
Agreed.
it is what it is. We're all sitting up here in front of the public for a reason, and you know, we're all going to answer to what we say and what we do. And if we're willing to sit here and take that, then hopefully they can understand sometimes. But I appreciate everybody.
Thank you. Mr. Hall?
I have none.
Okay, Ms. Hanson?
I too wanted to say thank you to the superintendent for his hard work and the presentation that he put together for our county commissioners. And I would like to thank our county commissioners for putting our children first. Their safety and well-being and education, that means a lot. And I also want to say, Mr. Gerganis, we have certainly appreciated you and all your hard work, and we wish you the best. Yes. I did ask Burgall Middle School, tell me something good that's happened there this week. And I heard back from Mr. Allen, who I'm going to visit with tomorrow, just a brief little visit. And he said they started their after-school tutoring program last week. And so I just want to give them a shout out and wish those staff and kids that are working hard after school the best. And I did reach out to Mr. Paquette about something good that was happening at Pender High School, and he said that the pizza oven, like I said, is working and functional, and everybody is happy about that. So that's my comments for this month. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to echo everyone up here. I think we were all very impressed with the presentation last night, Dr. Breedlove. We thank you very much for that. The state of the county, I think you said in there that Pender County Schools' future looks bright, and I could not agree with you anymore. Also, I wanted to say thank you also to the county commissioners who gave us that much-needed financial bump for our school bus drivers, for the radios, and for the Chromebooks. We are very appreciative of how you support us. Also, Mr. Gerganis. Mr. Gerganis, we are going to miss you horribly. From the moment that you came in and gave the first presentation, I know you were a little nervous that night, but it just kind of seems like you were just starting to hit your stride with us, sir, but I wish you nothing but the best. And this past week, I had the opportunity to speak to the chief of Surf City Police, Chief Voorhees, and the Surf City Police Department, we have an MOU with them for SRO services over at our Surf City schools. And he told me some of the things that he has taken on himself to get to know the kids better. And one particular program that he has is Lunch with the Law. And he takes one grade, I think it's once a week, and he will, from the K through 6, and he goes into the lunchroom and he eats lunch with them and he talks to them, and he takes about, I think he said 4 or 5 other officers with him. And I cannot begin to say how wonderful I think this is. It's an early introduction for our students to get to know law enforcement and to feel more comfortable with them and going to them if they need anything. And like I said, I just cannot say enough about how much they do for our schools out there. So that was my shout out for the week. And now I'm going to hand it over to Mr. McPherson.
Good evening, Board. The past couple of weeks in the life of a school board attorney have been very exciting. The sort of outset would be a series of executive orders and proclamations at the federal level regarding the flow of financial funds for schools and certain programs, and good to know that all of those funds are going to continue to flow. There are some interesting things happening regarding the Federal Department of Education, including your own Congressman David Rouser filing a bill for the 6th time for the abolishment of the Federal Department of Education. He will find a friend in the executive branch who also shares that desire. So it's going to be exciting. There is a view to consolidate the Department of Education with the Department of Labor. So we will stay tuned to that. In addition, I would say continue to monitor the General Assembly. There are some interesting bills that are getting floated about, including making Election Day a holiday, which actually I do truly believe makes a whole lot of sense because, honest to goodness, you guys spend a lot of time trying to figure out when Election Day is, and ultimately it's the day when you have to be open up to the public. So you end up having to make it a day off anyway, generally speaking. So there's consideration making that a holiday. Outside of that, I will continue the trend of looking at Ms. Gerganis and say it's been a pleasure working with you again. Hopefully it won't be that long before we work together in the future. Otherwise, that concludes my comments. Ms. Burns.
Thank you, sir. A report from the superintendent.
All right, thank you very much, Board. February is a very busy month for Pender County Schools. We are celebrating many things. The first that I'll talk about is our career technical education. This is CTE month across the United States, and we are celebrating that and spotlighting our students and staff, and highlighting the Spirit Week and Job Shadowing Day that is coming up. So we're looking forward to that. Also, February is We are celebrating Black History Month across Pender County Schools. It's on our website, and you can see many activities in our schools each and every day. Also, several elementary schools celebrated the 100 day of school last week, and you probably saw that on social media. February the 6th, you may have seen the social media post for students and teachers dressed up in their best elderly costumes and plenty of gray hair to go around. I joined in, as you can tell. I still have my costume on. Always a fun and spirited day each year. A huge congratulations to South Topsail Elementary emerging as the champion in overtime at the Battle of the Books. I want to thank Mr. Lawson as he spearheads that for our district, and it was just a fantastic day. I want to congratulate, like I said, South Topsail Elementary, but I also want to congratulate all of the student participants that day and say thank you to vendors, thank you to our support staff for helping out that day as well, and then lastly, thank Rocky Point Elementary, which hosted it, and just a lot of people on campus and a lot of things that they've done, but certainly a good day in Pender County Schools. This week is Love the Bus Driver Appreciation Week. Also, a huge shout out to our bus drivers. I want to thank them that they are committed to Pender County Schools and doing a great job with limited resources that they have. As we all know, transportation has been a pinch point for Pender County, and we do want to celebrate the drivers that we have. Want to encourage others to drive a school bus for Pender County Schools. It is a great job. We love our people, and our bus drivers love our students, and the more you hang around them, the more you know. We are in good hands with our future. Our students are amazing, and they do a good job for us. So thank you to our bus drivers. Pender High School Beta Club and West Pender Middle Beta Club, they shined at the state convention this past week. They proudly showcased their skills in events like engineering and robotics and art. And I want to specifically recognize two students at West Pender Middle, Trinity Lamb and Victoria Wood, who finished second and first, respectively, in their competitions, while also recognizing the club and the club sponsors, because Miss Cassidy Miller and Miss Angel Nelson, they were recipients of the North Carolina Educators of Excellence Award at that convention, and want to congratulate them for the job well done. Pender High School also went. They had 43 students compete as well, and they ended up with 26 students finishing in the top 5 of their respective categories, earning their place to travel to Kissimmee, Florida, and compete in the National Beta Convention. That's going to be a big deal for students in making that trip for sure. Very memorable and something they'll remember for the rest of their lives. So best wishes to those students as they and the club sponsors as they compete and move forward. February the 28th at 6 o'clock, we will have the Pender Lee School Alumni Basketball game. And if you've ever been a part of that or seen those are a hoot. And please, go out and enjoy that game. That's going to be special. And as a reminder, the Pender County Schools will celebrate our spring break the week of March 3rd through the 7th. And so we still have work to do before then, but nonetheless, we have spring breaks already on the horizon. It doesn't feel like it out there, but certainly it's around the corner. And Monday, March 10th, we do have kindergarten registration beginning here in Pender County. And I want to put a date out there for you all, and that is 2038, because that's the graduating class for kindergartners in 2038. Anyway.
I'm telling you.
That's right. And Tuesday, March the 11th, we will have our regular board meeting scheduled here. And lastly, not least, Mr. Gaginas, you've heard it from the board and you hear it from me. It's been a pleasure working with you in a short amount of time. We wish you well and Godspeed in moving forward. So thank you so much for all that you've done for us in such a short amount of time. And so, board members, this concludes the superintendent's report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. At this time, do we have a motion for closed session?
Mr. McPherson, I'll make the motion if you read it, otherwise someone else can make it.
I move the board enter into closed session subject to the advice from attorney pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318-A1 and A6 to prevent the disclosure of confidential personnel information under General Statute 115C-319 and to consider matters relating to personnel matters. The board will also enter closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.A3 to consult with the board's attorney in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege and to consider confidential student matters as provided in North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A1 and the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act 20 U.S.C. 123G and NC General Statute 115C402.
All right, and to add to my motion, I'm going to add the last sentence to it. The first part of the closed session, I would like to be school board only, no staff and no attorney. So if anyone finds that acceptable, please second it. We have a personnel matter to discuss.
I'll second.
Okay, board, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And we are now in closed session. Thank you, everyone.
I make a motion that we come out of closed session.
Second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And motion is approved. Do we have a motion to approve the HR report?
Make a motion to approve the HR report.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.